Quackenbush, this is Till We Make It. And if you are passionate about the craft of professional wrestling, if you're never done learning, growing, or evolving as a performer, I happen to think you're in the right place. So join our community, subscribe down below, and ring that notification bell. Not only will it tell you every time I publish a video, it will please the people at YouTube. They love that engagement metric. Today, I want to talk about those unusual circumstances when you're performing for a company that prefers to have either the live commentary or time cues announced live so the entire house can hear it. And there's some companies that do both, of course. I understand why they want to provide this additional storytelling element to the audience. However, I am of the opinion that the negatives far outweigh the positives in virtually every single case. And I'm going to give you a couple examples to illustrate what I'm talking about. In any scenario where the audience can hear the commentary live, this means that the wrestlers and the referee can hear it too. And they cannot ignore what they are hearing. They have to react in real time to what the commentators are saying. And if for some hard to fathom reason, the commentary is being delivered live over the public address system or some other sound setup that they've got there, and it's clear the wrestlers and referee can hear it, but they choose to ignore it, they will seem idiotic to the audience. The performance becomes insulting to them. In fact, it is nearly impossible to realistically suspend your disbelief if you know the performers can hear that information and yet they are choosing to act like they don't. Just drawing on my own experience, allow me to detail for you now 2 examples that I think highlight ways in which this whole setup can go wrong. So imagine if one wrestler is cheating or doing anything behind the referee's back and the commentators call that out live so that everyone in the house can hear it. In order to maintain their integrity, the referee must react immediately to the information that the commentators have just betrayed. So what if one of the commentators were to call aloud that, hey, he just stuck a foreign object into his trunks? Well, then the referee must immediately turn around and check the trunks. Otherwise, his authority within the match is completely destroyed. Or as a different example, imagine if one wrestler is feeding their back toward the entranceway because a sneak attack or run-in is coming next. But as they start coming down the aisle, the commentators announce what they are seeing live to the house. Well, of course, the wrestler then must react. They can't continue to feed their back to the entranceway, nor can they act as if they have been caught off guard by this sneak attack. The cat's out of the bag. Now, generally speaking, the commentary is only there to narrate the experience for the home viewers. But in the cases where it can also be heard live in real time by the people in the house, this dramatically changes the performance because the commentators are now not just passive narrators, they are active agents in the match. They have agency, and the wrestlers, referees, and any performers that can hear what they are saying must listen to their warnings, insight, advice, and admonishments and react to it in real time. Otherwise, the whole performance is undermined. I've also worked for plenty of companies that call the time cues out loud over the microphone. 5 minutes gone, 10 minutes gone, etc. This is especially helpful for wrestlers to hear time cues because if they know they are meant to wrestle for 20 minutes and 10 minutes have already elapsed, they know how much more work there is to do. And at companies where time limits are strictly enforced, this is a big benefit. It can also be helpful in the event that a match is timed like an Ironman match typically is. As time ticks away, tension continues to mount. The less likely it is that we will see a satisfactory conclusion before time elapses, the more the audience is engaged by what's going on in the ring. And this can absolutely have an upside to it. However, there is also a downside to this, because if only some matches or only one match on an entire card has the time cues suddenly announced, it's like a clear indicator to the audience that the passage of time is only going to be relevant in this one single instance. So, announcing the time cues must be a standard practice. Either all the matches get the time cues announced, or none of them do. If strict time limits are never enforced, advertised, or even relevant to the performances themselves, then I see no upside to incorporating that into a card. And if the wrestlers themselves happen to need time cues, better to have that information delivered discreetly by the referee than announced over the microphone, unless it is a standard practice for every match on the card. Whenever the commentary or the time cues are announced aloud to the in-house crowd, they take on a degree of agency and influence over the performance that they typically never wield. And that has got to be dealt with responsibly. It is so easy in either or both cases for that to spoil part of the performance for the paying customers. And just thinking about the number of times I have seen something bungled or ruined by this practice, I would love to know. Have you ever worked for a company where the commentary or the time cues are announced aloud to the in-house crowd? And if so, did it go well? Actually, what I really want to know is when it went poorly. Would you leave me that story down below in the comments? I would love to hear about it. You keep on being awesome. I will keep on making the videos, and together, we will keep on faking it.